So I'll run through the form you need to fill in to claim winter fuel allowance this winter. I'll run through it nice and slowly and carefully. Don't forget, there is a pause and rewind button if there's anything you're unsure about. But before I do, I want to get into this article, which has got some quite scary statistics about the number of people who won't be claiming. The article's from Kent County Council. However, it will apply to other areas of the UK as well. So what they say, Kent County Council said that there could be as much as 68 million unclaimed in pensions this year. And that's in the form of pension credits. Now, most people who will be claiming the winter fuel allowance will be doing that because they're entitled to pension credits. And we're not talking small numbers here. We're talking 18,000 people. And if you do get this benefit, you'll also be entitled to NHS dental, optical treatments, lots of other benefits as well. On an average, pension credit's worth £186 a month. So the aim of this video really is to get more people to apply. And what they're saying here is that a third of people who are entitled to pension credit won't actually claim it. So even if you're not claiming pension credit yourself, please pass this video on to someone who may be. So this is the application form. Now it's 24 pages long, 240 questions in there, but I will run through the more tricky ones and I'll highlight the ones which I think you'll need to prepare for. It is possible to do this online, but if you take more than 30 minutes, it'll lock you out and make you start again. So the paper version may be a great place to start. So here we are at page 1, and this is the usual, your name, surname, address, that kind of thing. So fairly straightforward, this one. You are going to need your national insurance number here a little bit further down. So if you scroll down the page here, we can see question 6, national insurance number. And then we also have some questions about whether you speak English or another language. Let's go on to page 2. You'll see here that if you don't have a partner, then you can jump to 26, or if your partner lives permanently in a care home, then you'll also go to question 26. And you'll see that a lot in this form. So you're basically missing out 9 or 10 questions there immediately if you don't have a partner. So if you do have a partner, you'll need to fill in the same details as you did for yourself here. So it's your partner's NI and date of birth and name and all the other things that are asked for at this part. It also asks whether your partner's registered blind or severely sighted impaired as well. This next section here is quite important. It's relating to whether you'll be claiming for any dependent children. So if you're not, then good news is you jump all the way to question 102. So, that's missing out a good 70 questions nearly. If you do have a dependent child that you need to claim for, then it's similar details as we were completing earlier on for yourself and partner. Then as we get further into the questions about children, they become a lot more difficult, the questions. There's a lot more information you'll need. When did you take on responsibility for the child? Are you getting child benefit? Who claims child benefit for the child? And then more about, does the child live with you all the time or part of the time? There's then parts about whether they're in education, whether they come from a foster home, whether they're in custody, whether they're living outside of Great Britain. A lot of questions here that really do dive into a lot of details about your child. So if you're not claiming specifically for a dependent child, then the form will be a lot easier. But if you are, there's quite a lot of questions coming in here. As the majority of people who'll be claiming pension credit actually won't be claiming for the dependent child, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this section quite quickly. However, please, in the comments, if you do want me to go through these in a bit more slower detail, then let me know, and I'll upload another video specifically about the sections that are related to children. So once we get to section 99 of the form, then we are past the children bit, and we're looking at tax credits and whether you claimed them in the last 12 months, whether you still are claiming them, and when they're due to end. So this section here also checks whether you're living in a care home or whether there's anyone else living in the same house as you as well. So here we will now move into the section which is asking about who's responsible for paying the rent in the property. And you'll also need to know the name of your council, whether you've claimed housing benefits or not, and whether you've actually applied for some reduction in your council tax as well. Question 109 could be a little bit tricky here. So let's have a look at that. It says, do you or your partner pay for service charges for the place where you live? So yeah, this is service charges within your rent. It then goes on to ask about, do you pay ground rent? And sometimes some of these things are quite hard to find out, aren't they? It'll ask you about when the lease on your home was granted, again, which is generally not readily available information. Do you share rent or a mortgage? Is one of the questions. Well, I've got this section up here, question 117, 118. This is about whether you own any property either in this land or this country abroad. So you'll need to provide some information there. But if we scroll down to the bottom of this page here, we'll see that there's some other questions relating to your investments and savings. So this is quite an important part of the form here. So do you or your partner have any money, including savings and investments, and what is the total amount? And it's saying if the amount is more than £10,000, then you'll need to fill in a PC1H form as well. I'll make sure that I put links to these forms in the description as well here for you. And then, of course, we have, do you have any other claimed benefits that you're waiting to hear about? And you'll have to give some details there as well. So it might be a tenant allowance or something else, something similar. So then we move down to question 121, which asks about anybody getting care allowance for yourself. Or it may be that someone gets some extra universal credit for looking after you, and you have to provide their name and their NI number. Also here it says, do you spend 30 hours a week looking after someone in this section as well? So this is all about care that you receive and care that you give. Oh, question 127, it's the same question, but it's about whether your partner gets or gives care as well. So then we move down to the next section. And this is about benefits and about pensions. So has your partner claimed any benefits, and have you or your partner paid into any private pension schemes where you expect to get money in the next 12 months? So this will be an important section for many people claiming benefits because they may have a very small works pension that they'll need to drag out the details, find the details for, and include them here. So if you have answered yes here, you will need to fill in quite a lot more details as to who pays the pension, what type it is, how much you get, how often, and the same for your partner as well. So this whole section here, if you do have a private pension, will take some digging to go find your paperwork and perhaps contact pension providers as well. And then also here, when did you receive the last payment? Does the pension increase each year? Who gets it? If your partner expects to get a pension in the next 12 months, then when's it due? Then if you look across to question 153, 154 here. So are you doing any paid work? Is it self-employed? Has your partner done any work? these questions, again, are quite detailed, really, and, will require you to potentially speak with your past employer, to get out pay slips, that kind of thing, really, just to make sure that you have all the right information here. And if you are self-employed, probably a little bit more tricky again. So this whole section really here is trying to identify whether you're doing any paid employment and whether your partner's doing any paid employment as well. So we'll jump to 175 here. So this is about providing evidence of the money when it's coming in, and you will need to send some proof and get some evidence here as well. However, for money that is paid by the Department for Work and Pensions, you don't need to tell them about that information because they've got that question. Okay, so on this section, do you expect you or your partner to start getting any money in the next 12 months? Again, that's quite difficult to judge. Now, are we going to win the lottery? You don't really know, but if you are expecting a lump sum to come in from insurance or inheritance or something like that, then that will need to be declared in this section. Now, section 182, 183, this is all about whether you're in a hospital inpatient. When you went into hospital, the name of the hospital, are you staying there temporarily, that kind of thing. This next section here, starting at 187, is all about time you've spent outside the country. So it wants to know about your nationality, which country you came from, whether you've lived outside the UK for any period of time. Then a bit lower down the page here, we get questions about the Home Office and your passport and the right to stay. If you have come to the UK under a sponsorship, then you'll need to provide details of the sponsor and your Home Office reference here as well. Also, whether you're an asylum seeker. And then related to that, whether your partner has the right to reside in the UK. You will be pleased to hear that we are coming towards the end of the form here now. And if you're not from abroad and you're not claiming asylum, a lot of these questions, you won't need to fill in here. So the last part of the form here talk about when do you want to apply from, when do you want the money from. And it also gives you quite a big section here on filling any other details that you think they may need to know. It'll ask you how often you want to be paid, whether it's fortnightly or weekly, and then obviously it's going to need some bank details from you for the money to be paid into as well. This last section of the form always causes quite a lot of anxiety here, because what we're talking about is you declaring that everything you've said is completely accurate and that you acknowledge you'll be prosecuted if you've made any mistakes. And you're also declaring that if you have made a mistake, that you'd be willing to pay the money back. So not an easy form to fill in. However, the fact that this will give you access to prescriptions and optometry and dentists and lots of other benefits, then really do hope you fill the form in if you think you may be entitled, or if you know someone who may be entitled, that you pass the form along. And please do ask questions in the comments. No question's a silly question, and the people here who follow my channel are really helpful and will be more than happy to help you. So best of luck with your claim.